Okay, hi everybody. Welcome to week 4, I think, of the academic writing seminar. So we've looked at referencing a fair bit in this and previously, and now we're going to look at the two referencing styles in a lot more detail and do some practice as well. Research warm-up tasks. Why do we reference? When do we reference? And what do we reference? 2-minute research task, then we'll have a discussion about it. So why, what, and when. So why do we reference? What do we reference? And when do we reference? So Izzy says we reference so we can prove we know what we're doing. It gives evidence to your idea. What do we reference? Cooper says direct facts. Anything that you have taken that is someone else's work, even if you've paraphrased it, changed it completely, you still have to give reference to the original author. So when do we reference? When we've taken someone else's ideas. Now, there's 2 main referencing styles. Any ideas what they are? The ones that you've used before. So Izzy says APA, yep, American Psychological Association. They've got to the 7th edition now. And the other one is Harvard. There's Vancouver, and there's about 50,000 other ones. But those 2 in Vancouver are the main ones. 2 very distinct styles, and 2 styles you'll come across in different subjects in grade 12. And we're going to look at Harvard today in more detail. Harvard is the simplest one. Most sciences use Harvard. I'm going to rant again. You get in trouble for ranting too much. Don't take information from sources and then not record the information. There's this, I don't know why the schools do it, but they teach people to reference last. Do your reference last. How many times I've written an assignment and then forgot where I got the information from. I would be an uncountable amount of times. You take information from somewhere, at least put the link or write the information down somewhere in your reference list. Do not just, oh yeah, I got that from here. Izzy says, I do that all the time. Well, stop it. You find a good source of information, do the reference form. I'll show you the quickest, easiest way to do this. We'll go through the painful part, but then I'll show you the quick, easy. Yeah. So, too long, didn't read. Do your referencing when you find the source and as you find the source. Nothing worse than getting to the end of your assignment going, yeah, I'm finished, then realizing you have to do 20 references. Save yourself the pain and do it as it comes. So why reference? It shows that you've done your research, it avoids plagiarism, and it is the absolute cornerstone of academic writing. Without referencing, you could just be making it. Your writing is based on what someone who knows more than you has said. It also allows, proper referencing allows someone, again, a lot of cherry picking goes on Facebook arguments where someone will cite a research article, but they will completely misunderstand or misinterpret the information. Or they'll just ignore it and pretend. So it allows me, when you use that in an argument to me to tell me that 5G is causing coronavirus, I can then go to that source and see, actually, does what it says in there back up what it's saying? Generally not. So all of the sources of information you used in writing your essay. Can I use direct quotes? Can I directly copy and paste from something? Is that allowed? Anybody, can I just copy and paste a chunk of information from somewhere? The answer is yes, I can. But I have to put it in quotation marks, and we'll show you how to do that later. Citation is where we're acknowledging where you've used someone else's work in your own. So when we reference in text, this is purely for Harvard. Author's name followed by the date of publication. So Gabe, 2011. Argues that. It can also go at the end of the paragraph where you've used that information. So if there's two or more authors, you cite both of them. So Morris and Scott, 1996. If there are more than two authors, we use et al. Or including. So if you're quoting directly, you use quotation marks and the same references. I wouldn't worry too much about this in yours. It's not useful. I wouldn't worry too much about splitting them. And for your assignments, it will be a reference list or bibliography. It will tell you in your assignment. Don't number or put into bullet points your references. It should be in alphabetical order. Again, we'll look at the bibliography more closely in later weeks. Okay. If we're referencing a book with a single author, we put the author's last name first, comma, the initial of their first name, 2005, the year of publication. The name for a book will be in italics. The place of publication. I've never understood why that's important. And then the publishing company being Sage Publication. If there's more than one author, put them in alphabetical order based on the initial of their last name. Shouldn't really be using edited books in year 11 and 12 or high school. So, books are super simple. I'm going to go. Let me give you an example. And you're going to practice referencing this. I'm going to stop sharing. Hopefully everyone's taken that down. So I want everyone to find a book called The End of Oil. If you just Google The End of Oil, all of the information required to complete this reference will come up on the right-hand side. I want the three guys that are in here now, I might even share my screen if I'm feeling nice. My 12,000 tabs. So I want you guys to come up with the reference Harvard style for this book. And I'm going to give everyone 2 minutes. If you're watching the recording, just skip ahead 2 minutes. So I hope everyone was concentrating when I put up the example. One more minute to come up with that reference. So Izzy, you're right, Roberts P. 2004. What's the title? All right. So I'm going to stop sharing that. and I'm going to share the whiteboard. So, author is Paul Roberts. It was published in 2004. And in italics. Can I not do italics on Zoom? Okay, the title has to be in italics. Let's just pretend. It was published in the United States by there's our reference for our references for that book that we've just. Pretending that the end of oil is written in italics. Simple as that. If there was two authors, we would just add the second author and like that. Okay, let's try. Let's look at journal. Probably the hardest one and possibly the most. So if we have exactly the same as the website, we have first name, last name, initial, the date in brackets. If we don't put the title in italics. So we then put the title of the journal in italics. We then put the volume number, the edition number, and the page numbers. Same thing if we have multiple authors, it's in alphabetical order. Okay, I give everyone 1 minute to jot down the journal article, and then I'm going to find an example, and then we're going to build the reference. And at the end of this, I'm going to show you how to do it automatically and easily on the internet. But I want you guys to physically build them, because the problem with the automatic ones, like Cite This For Me, is they often make mistakes and you still need to check it. And hopefully I can get Cite This For Me to make a mistake. Okay, let me find a journal article. Okay, so here's all the information you need to cite this journal. 2 minutes to answer this. So using the example that was on the slide that you've all written down studiously, what is the reference for it? 2 minutes. let's build the reference. Let's build the reference. Okay. So what do we put first? So who's the author? We have Wahlberg, comma. The comma and full stops are really important. 1956. What's the problem with this reference? Would you use this reference in your assignment? And if not, why wouldn't you use it? Because it's too old. But I'm using it as an example. We've got the name. So again, you do not need to capitalize the title. We then have a full stop. Again, pretending this is italicized, we would have Science is the journal name. It's volume number 123. Number 3191 and pages Now, some of your teachers will ask you to put in a DOI, or a digital object identifier. Some will say link, but this just goes at the end. Harvard will definitely, APA will definitely ask you for a DOI. Remember this, we're pretending that this is italicized. But that's it. It's really quite simple once you get the process going. It's important to remember that you don't capitalize the name of the article. Full stops, commas, all really important. Okay, so now we're going to look at websites. Now I'm going to go on a bit of a rant about websites. Be very, very careful referencing websites. Why? Because lots of people reference websites and they put author unknown as the author. What's the biggest problem with putting author unknown? What is the whole point of citing your work only to then say, actually, I don't know who wrote this? To give credit, and there's one other reason. To back up what you're saying. So if you're then saying, I'm referencing this, but I don't know who wrote it, don't do it. If you can't find the author on the website, don't use that reference. Find another one. that might be a little bit harsh. Perhaps one author unknown, but if your reference list is just author unknown, author unknown, author unknown, then you're definitely going to lose marks. Okay, so if we're citing websites, same as before, author, comma, date. Just the last name. So a lot of people will use the same website, which is from multiple sources. Perfectly okay. 2012 May. 2012 May. Why is the date you access the website really important? Because information changes rapidly on the internet. So if you cite something and the next day it changes, when the person then goes and checks that source and it actually says something different to what you've written, it doesn't look great. So it says that, okay, it may have changed, but at least you've told us when you accessed it. So, and again, the URL of the website. It's almost impossible to find a website based on a description in a bibliography. Almost impossible. I've tried, it doesn't work. So if we're looking at citing, again, if you're using the same website twice, make sure you write A and B, because otherwise you can't tell which website was used where. Okay. Websites, super easy to reference. Super easy to reference. We have author, date, name of the website, the URL, and the date accessed. Super, super simple. So I hope everyone's taken that down, take a note of it. I'm going to put a website up. Actually, just pick a random website and give me the citation in the chat. That's probably easy. And then I'll do one and I'll make one. So everyone has 2 minutes. Again, if you're watching the recording, you can either pause or skip ahead 2 minutes. I'll just be saying, use whatever you want, whatever website you'd like, is it? Find a website. one more minute to reference a website. Hopefully it looks the same as mine. And I'm going to do something naughty. Do it wrong. Not wrong, I'm just going to use the wrong. Okay, so I'm going to use University of New South Wales. Why is referencing important? So the author unknown. If you go to the bottom, you can usually see the date of publication. If you can't find that, use the last date it was updated. This one is 2019, so it's okay, we can use it. So the difference with a website is this is how we use it. We then have the name of the reference in italics. Again, pretend this is in italics. I just can't do it on Zoom. Y is available. And I'll put the link. And then I put access. I don't know what the date is. I think it's the 2nd. So that's how we reference websites. So I spoke before about online journals and digital object identifiers. So if you find the book online, post the link as you would a website. Now, for journal articles, it's a little bit different. We don't use a link. We use a DOI, or a digital object identifier. And that's down here. Now, because it's online, it is subject to change. The very first ones we did, this was a paper, a journal. So back in the 50s, when we didn't have the internet, everything was done. You'll never use that because you'll always access everything online. So at the end here, we add the digital object identifier, or the DOI, and the date of access. So the digital object identifier it's much better than a link, because links change, links become broken, things get moved. It's a permanent identifier for a piece of digital work, whether that be a book or a journal. And it just makes everyone's life easier. It will be found at the start of the journal article. Okay. Now, I'm going to, I used to think nobody knew about this. Maybe 5 years ago, nobody knew about it. But a website called Sitedis. Amazing website. So we're doing Harvard. So you can pick, let's do a website. random website, how to make, that was a bad choice. How to make pancakes. Again, can we look for photosynthesis? Okay, I found my reference for photosynthesis. It's not particularly, it's an edu link, so it's okay. And I want to reference it. Put in the URL here. So I want to cite it. But it hasn't, and this is the problem when people use this and they don't check it. So you still need to go in and manually find the author, if you can, okay? It would have to be author unknown. And this is why I always say to try and avoid using websites. Okay, was it published in 2020? Probably not. th of April. I was in 2020. Who was the publisher? Doesn't matter because it's the website, the URL. So this will then give us our citation. So you can see that here. After you've referenced, you take unknown and put that after the reference or after the sentence or paragraph where you've used this information. So looks pretty good to me. It's an online source. Smithsonian Education Center is the organization name. It's available. It's italicized. Okay. Now we want to reference a journal article. Same thing. We go to Google Scholar. We type in the same thing. So now it's just giving me books. It's actually, okay, so I found my journal article that I want to reference. So, and this is part of the problem. It's difficult to find the right article called photosynthesis. So when this stops going so slowly. All right, let me find a more specific. So to see this, so let's see if it picks it up based on the URL this time. Now it's not going to work. Okay. So we do the same thing as we did before. Now it's asking us to manually cite this. It's not going to work, of course, just by luck. So we can use cite this for me, but we have to use it carefully. And I'll go through this again next week. Hopefully it's back working. Once you finish with cite this for me, you then take it out of here. But make sure that you check all of these citations manually and make sure they're correct. Thanks everybody for watching / coming. Next week we'll do the same thing but with APA. Again, probably the two driest weeks out of them all. APA is a lot more complicated than Harman, so we'll probably go almost a full hour next week. I will see everybody either in the week or next week. Have a great weekend.